Hello, hello. This is Yuri with Moving Sales Professionals and Let's Talk Moving podcast. And with me today, I have Elijah Canfield, owner and CEO of Billy.com, with almost 20 years of lead generation experience. How you doing today, Elijah?
Great. Appreciate you having me on.
Great, great. I think that that's obviously the hot topic for a lot of moving companies out there is lead generation. How did you get in the moving industry?
Yeah, so Billy.com, we got started in 2008. We got started out in San Jose, California. In 2018, I took over the company, took over the role of CEO, and I moved the company out to Metro Detroit, Michigan, Brighton, Michigan to be exact. But yeah, I had been in the industry for a while. I was working with Billy.com, and the previous ownership, they were looking to retire, and we talked about it, and I ended up acquiring the company in 2018.
Okay. So why lead generation?
The main reason is I've always been in business, and I wanted to figure out a way to help as many businesses as possible. So through that path, it led me to lead generation. It's an opportunity to help many small, medium-sized businesses, grow their revenue, hopefully hire more staff, and invest in their communities.
Okay. So Billy.com is on the lower end as far as lead pricing goes. What is the rationale behind that versus higher price lead providers?
Yeah. So our target lead buyer has always been smaller companies. So, we're not targeting uh, companies that are doing 50 million in revenue or something. We target, typically it's under 10 million a year in revenue that we're targeting. And our rationale is we're very good at providing leads in volume. So we essentially pass that savings on. So that allows kind of your smaller, newer companies to start buying leads, helps them grow quicker, and we still make our margin.
And now for a word from our sponsors. If you're a moving business owner, you may have already heard of Moversville, an email marketing service that helps moving companies increase, repeat, and referral business. But have you heard of Moversville Connect? Moversville Connect is an incredible resource for all things moving. They feature an array of vendors and services that cater specifically to the moving industry. You can find companies that provide moving software, moving sales services, marketing services, moving equipment providers, and much, much more. Visit moversville.com today to learn more.
Okay, okay. Now, quality of leads is down across the industry. We've all seen the trends, especially the last couple of years. Now, of course, part of it is has to do with the housing market. Part of it has to do with the fact that people just have less money to go around, so they move a little bit less. But what are your thoughts on the reasons besides those? And what are you doing to change that?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of reasons for it. Um, for us at Billy.com, the main reason is every platform or every source that we generate a lead from, it has a different cost associated with it. And, so like you can think like your Google ads are going to be the most expensive, but it's also the highest intent. Where maybe a Facebook lead might be slightly less expensive and maybe the intent is a little bit lower. And there's different ways to advertise, right? So we can do display ads and we do native ads and we can generate, maybe through email as a cross sell and upsell. And every lead source has a different cost associated with it. And what we're trying to do is we blend all of those together to come up with a target cost that it takes us to generate a lead and still be profitable. So if we were to sell only 100% of Google ads, we wouldn't be able to sell them at the price that we sell them. Of course, they'd be the highest intent. The cost would be a lot more. So our concept or our business model is to blend in other sources like Facebook and things like that and email traffic, which can still be a very high quality lead. It just isn't as historically not as high of a quality as a someone searching. Someone searching, I need to hire a full service mover near me. It's a much higher intent than us showing a display ad on Facebook and interrupting their scrolling. That's essentially what's happening. Is sometimes the cheaper sources become a bigger ratio of the leads coming in.
Okay. Now, are you doing anything that's unique in terms of better in the quality? And once again, I think that across the board, because I talk to a lot of movers, obviously, and we do sales and everything like that, right? So we're dealing with leads, face to face, so to speak, right? And overall, I think the everything that I hear from people is that they're willing to pay more for higher quality. So
Yeah.
what do you think?
Yeah, so we're doing two things. So the first thing is on our web form leads. We have a phone validator as the very last step. So essentially, once a potential customer submits their information, we
Mhm.
then ask them to uh, input the two-digit code that we just texted to them. So that's adding in a little bit of friction into the funnel, which shows a little bit more intention, a little higher intention. Plus, it validates the phone number for us.
Hi everyone, this is Jasdeep.
Hi, this is Herleen. We are the proud owners of the Calgary franchise of Let's Get Moving.
The main part of the business, which is sales, marketing, and advertising, he was gonna be the one controlling everything on the back end, and all we had to do was take care of the jobs that the sales team was booking for our location.
They'll give you a proper training. Then they have a nice franchisee team. You can call them, you can send them an email, or you can text them. They'll be there to help you.
You definitely need a really good team
Right.
in order for this business to succeed, and we were definitely blessed with amazing operation members, amazing movers, and pretty much even from day one, like we had an amazing team.
Visit letsgetmovingusa.com, changing the moving world one move at a time.
The second thing is we're pushing more of our moving buyers, moving partners into a consumer initiated inbound call. So, I think the everyone that's listening to this, right, we don't answer our phone anymore when we don't recognize the number. And that trend has really picked up steam over the last few years. So when a potential customer submits a form, then all of a sudden their phone's ringing, they don't recognize the number. Even though they just made that request, many people still don't answer. So what we're trying to encourage is a click to call. So our ads are really, instead of pushing a web form submission, we're pushing the consumer to call, and then we route that call directly to our moving partners. It's a better user experience for the potential customer. It's a higher converting, lead, if you will, for the moving partner.
Yeah, absolutely. It's becoming more of a direct connect. And I talk about that all the time where you want the people to call you
Yeah,
because if they call you, if they like you, if they like your price, if they like your company, they're that much more likely to book right there and then and not talk to anybody else, which
exactly.
is obviously what we want because, anytime that person gets off the phone and there's a chance that somebody else is going to call or there's a chance that they're going to call somebody else. So your chances of closing that lead are obviously dropping.
Yes, 100%. So over the last, I'd say 18 months, it's the main product that we push. We highly encourage it. The biggest pushback that I would say we get from our moving partners, obviously, is cost.
Okay, so how much more expensive is that product versus your regular product?
On our regular product, our forms, we're selling exclusive leads and shared leads.
Hmm.
So, if it's an exclusive lead, it's coming to only you in real time. If it's a shared lead, we sell it up to 4 moving companies. Everyone gets it at the same time. It is in real time. So we have a lot of moving companies that they like the shared lead because it gets them in at the cheapest price point. Uh, for us, it's it's the worst customer experience because they're getting called
Hmm.
from 4 different companies,
Right.
at the same time. Uh, it's the hardest, it's the lowest converting for our moving partners. So it's not always the best product, but we still have moving companies that prefer that. So we still offer it.
So,
Um,
so this is great that we're having this conversation because I can tell you personally, having called your leads for many, many years, of course, I'm not the one that buys the leads in my case, right? But having your leads for many years, I did not even know that you have that as a product. So, and I think that it's a great thing that you're getting on with us because now I think after this podcast, you're going to find that you're going to have a lot more people asking you about this because I don't think a lot of people realize that you have that,
You're talking about the shared or the exclusive?
the
Uh,
exclusive.
exclusive leads, yes. Yeah, that. So I would say we mainly sell exclusive leads, and then probably our number two is a shared lead, and then number three is still our inbound calls. Um, we're trying to flip that ratio. We will.
Well, I think you'll find after this podcast that you're going to get a lot more questions about the non-shared ones, the exclusive and the calls, because I personally didn't know that you had that. So that's a great product. Obviously, I want people to try that, and I'm going to now. You not only am I going are we talking about this on this podcast, but I'm actually going to mention it to my clients that are already using our services that that option is there
Yeah.
and to check it out because that's great. Obviously, that's what you want. You want the exclusivity. You want the direct connects. That's what's missing.
Yes. Yes. We also have the SEC one-to-one consent ruling coming out on January 27th, which all of our Billy.com leads will be fully compliant with that. That is going to have a big impact on our industry. So the reason why that's going to have an impact, are you familiar with that? That this
No,
ruling?
no, no. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's been in play for maybe, we're coming down the line for maybe 6 or 12 months.
Okay.
And a lot of small businesses are not aware of it. It's a huge impact for anyone who buys leads that uses a regulated technology. So if you're doing any kind of robocalling, uh, there's a whole laundry list of regulated technologies.
Hmm.
And so what it means is, well, I don't want to go into uh,
Right.
all of the legal side of it because I'm not a lawyer, but
Right.
basically, a consumer when they're going through a web form, they have to manually give one-to-one consent for the end moving partner to contact them. Whoever is going to be calling them has to be shown in that web form now, and that customer has to manually select that they give agreement that that end moving company is allowed to contact them. So what that means, of course, is customers aren't going to select very many moving companies. They might select one, maybe two. There's no way that they're going to go through and select everyone and pick, four or six or anything like that.
Right.
So what it means is now the number of leads out in the ecosystem are going to
Mhm.
go down drastically, just by the nature of nobody wants to be contacted, by four or six companies.
Yeah, that's definitely going to change things, no question.
For us, it means that our shared product is going to decrease, and we're going to really encourage more people to go into the exclusive leads.
That's interesting information. So basically, with this taking place, what's going to happen is the quantity of leads is going to get while the quality will likely increase, the quantity is going to decrease. And then what that also is going to do is basically that quantity is going to be even lower if you're not a highly ranked, well-reviewed mover, because you're not going to be selected, if I understand how that would work in a larger sense.
Yeah, so when you're generating that lead,
Hmm.
some websites will show like reviews and they'll show different things on each potential moving company that's available.
Hmm.
Some are just going to show the name, right? So it's just going to be ABC moving, 123 moving,
Hmm.
and that user going through that web form, they get to pick which ones really just based on the name. They might do some research,
Hmm.
or the website can offer some of that information. But the reality is most websites are not going to have that.
Interesting. So it almost, I don't know if that makes sense, but it almost wants to, I don't know if it does or not, but it may push lead providers such as yourself to almost do a better screening process for the movers that you sell the leads to. Would you say that that's accurate?
I think it's going to affect the screening, and it's going to affect so on my side we talk a lot with our sales team about uh, talking with our moving partners about how it is a partnership,
Hmm.
and sometimes there's certain times where that partnership isn't good, right? Like we have a responsibility, right? We have to generate good high quality leads, and then our partners have a responsibility. They need to work those leads properly. So they need to be contacting within, a minute, 5 minutes max. We need to be having uh, automations in place and using different technologies to do everything properly. So there's a lot of companies that they don't have that system in place because they haven't grown to a size where they can have a sales manager or have any automations in place. So, we send them a potential customer and they're not working it for, you know, 6 hours, 24 hours, whatever it might be.
Sure.
So for us, it's more of selecting those partners that have the pieces in place to work a lead properly.
So, yeah, so that's interesting. So speaking of companies that don't have necessarily budget or whatever to have a sales manager, etc. Well, frankly, not to once again, I try not to promote ourselves too much on the podcast, but once again, when you are working with moving sales professionals, you do effectively have a sales manager without having to pay a sales manager salary to have one.
Yes, I think it's always smart to grow into, use a third party service until you can grow into it and afford to do it in house.
Or you decide that the third party service is the better way to go,
True. That's true.
which in a lot of ways that could be the case. But that that's great to have you on because I think that this is I mean we've had a lead provider on here before, but obviously you're one of the top, I would say, what about three at this point that are still out there and they've been out there for a long time. I mean, some lead providers have come and gone, but there's only a few that have been around consistently for the last, 10 years plus. So there's really few that survived the test of time, so to speak. So it's great to have you on, and it's nice to hear from you and see how the industry works in general. Because, like I said, we've been effective for it. It's nice to hear that you have some new services that, frankly, me as a salesperson, I was not aware of them. I'll admit my lack of knowledge on that, but that's great because now I have one extra thing to mention to my clients about something that you can do so that they can specifically approach you and ask for that specific product because that would be a better product, in my opinion. So thank you very much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you on. We'll talk again at some point soon. And guys, we're going to make sure we have links here for Billy.com. So Elijah, please send me any links if there's anything specific to those programs, because I'm sure that people are going to be interested in checking that out. But once again, thank you very, very much for joining us. Please like, please subscribe, and please support the podcast. Thank you, and we'll talk again soon. And as I always say, the world moves on its own, so let the professionals move yours for you.